This is our first community showcase that we're doing, among others, that we will be doing down the road. So we thank all of you who volunteered to be on the panel and tell us why you love Port Ludlow and what's exciting and what your businesses do there. And I just want to do some basic backfill and some housekeeping in that we generally hold chamber cafes on the first and third Friday of every month. And there no membership is required to be on this call, and there is no cost to attend. The cafe schedule is always on the chamber website, and if you are on our email list, you know that I send out way too many emails about everything that we do. So rarely do you feel out of the loop. This week is the first one in the series of Know Your Neighbors, and it's me, Port Ludlow. You all are muted when you enter, so if you can try to remember, and it's hard to unmute yourself and then remute yourself to keep the background noise down, we would be grateful. We are recording this session, and we will have it up on our YouTube channel within generally 2 to 3 business days. We generally have 30 to 50 people sign up, and today was no exception. And we lose about 50% of the people who sign up before login. And lately I've discovered that that's really a good percentage, that most people lose 70% or more. So we're very grateful for all of you who join us, and we know that a lot of you follow us on YouTube and get the message then. I'm hearing somebody else, so please remember to mute so that you don't have competing issues and also hear all that private stuff that's going on in the background. We always have the best of intentions when we register for these things, and stuff happens. And toward that end, if you have questions for any of our speakers, if you would be so kind as to put them in the chat. And then when our speakers are finished with, we're going to go around a couple of times with that, then we'll go ahead and ask those questions. And also we have some questions that come in from Facebook, so we'll throw those in the mix as well. And at the end of each cafe, we have a few minutes for what we call brieflies, where we share news of our businesses or what's going on with your business organization or a new event that's popped up. So please feel free when I call for that to raise your virtual hand or your actual hand, and we'll get you in the mix on that. You can tell us what's going on. I'm going to introduce you to all of our Port Ludlow champions today, and then give each of them an opportunity to quickly tell you a bit about their business. And once we've done that, we're going to then go around the Zoom table and dive deeper into the community. And first up, of course, the first person to step up and say, yes, I will do that, is Diana. And Diana is representing the Village and Port Ludlow Resort today. So Diana, take it away.
Thank you. So good morning, everybody. So when I talk to people about Port Ludlow Associates, when people say, oh, what is that? So we have 3 major lines of business. The resort at Port Ludlow, which includes the golf, the marina, the inn, the village center, and some other buildings in Port Ludlow. And then we have home building and developing, which is under West Harbor Homes. And we currently build kind of a spec pre-sale model in Port Ludlow, and then we're doing customs and remodels in Clallam, Jefferson, and Kitsap. And then our third line is Olympic Water and Sewer. We provide water and sewer to the community in Port Ludlow. I've been working with the land for about 30 plus years. I started when I was 5, right? And you know, if you think about the history of Port Ludlow, it actually started back in the late 1800s and has gone through a number of different ownership, with our company taking the reins in 2001. And I'll pass it to the next one.
All right, next on our list is going to be Michael. Michael is with Active Life Therapy in Port Ludlow.
Great, thank you for having me on, and it's great to have exposure for Port Ludlow and go community by community in Jefferson County. We're a small small town, of course, and have a lot to offer. And for our company, Active Life Physical Therapy, we've been out here since 2005. We provide physical therapy services for Port Ludlow and surrounding county. And we are a staff of about 10, so we're a small private practice, excuse me, with physical therapy services. You're thinking about getting people back to movement. So anything movement related, whether it be a back problem, neck problem, shoulder problem, we handle that in the outpatient realm. And we utilize and work with several other businesses in the county in terms of, we have people who have surgical needs. We utilize our Jefferson Healthcare and have that great relationship with them. Yeah, we've hired some new providers recently, which I can go into later, but pretty much physical therapy services since 2005, and happy to be here.
Thanks, Michael. We're going to move on now to Coldwell Banker Best Homes with Karina Wells.
Hi, my name is Karina Wells. I moved to Port Ludlow myself as an experienced realtor. My husband and I had the opportunity to live and work anywhere, so why not live and work somewhere beautiful? We were really drawn to Port Ludlow, the location, the aspects, and it has been a wonderful place to be in business for real estate. I'm here representing Coldwell Banker and Karen Best. This company has officially been under her name for 10 years, over 10 years. But before that, her uncle was involved, and I have lots of real estate facts, but I know we're just doing intros, but really, really happy to be here and serve Port Ludlow and the surrounding areas.
And thank you. And then we're going to move on to Cammie Brown. And Cammie is with Peninsula Legal Secretarial. And Cammie, unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll come back to you for a deeper dive later.
Okay, my name is, good morning. My name is Cammie Brown, and I own and operate Peninsula Legal Secretarial Services. That's a mouthful. And I offer affordable business and legal secretarial services to my community. I love the Port Ludlow area. I found that it had a need for my services, and I opened an office out there. I have 2 offices in Jefferson County. I appreciate that the Port Ludlow residents have allowed me to offer my services at an affordable rate. Thank you.
Thanks, Cammie. And then we go to Amy. Amy is the Director of Marketing and Communications for Jefferson Healthcare.
Hi, thank you for having me, Arlene. It's super nice not to talk about anything COVID, but if you want to ask questions, it's been a long time. So yes, as she said, I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications, and referred to as spokesperson for Jefferson Healthcare in the paper. But we're super excited. July is going to mark our 10-year anniversary in the Port Ludlow community, and we're very excited about that. And I'll go into more detail later, but that's the long and the short of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. So we have a lot of sectors of the community represented here, and the one that unfortunately is missing today, but that we all deal with and love, is restaurants. And so each of our speakers is going to not only talk about their business and how it relates to the community, but where they eat and what they like. So we're going to circle back to someone who has great food available all the time, and that's Diana.
Great, thank you. So when we think about restaurants in Port Ludlow, at first you think, oh, are there any? Are there a couple? So it's been great because we've seen an expansion of restaurants before COVID. So we started the Inn. The Inn has the Fireside Restaurant. It's waterfront. We like to call it casual, elegant. You can come in anything. And it's all farm to fork. Definitely looking to support the farmers around us. And then if we look at what else is in Port Ludlow, Dusty Green signed a lease at the golf course. Gosh, it's probably been a little over a year, about a year and a half to almost 2 years. They're doing a great job up there. The the golfers love them, and the general public is excited to have another option. Their fish and chips on Friday are great. Kachina is in the village center along with Carlos, the Mexican restaurant. And the village store also provides a takeout, which has been really good for people who just want to hop in and hop out. And he originally was doing tacos in the village store, decided to shake it up. And now I believe he's going to be moving towards an Asian flair, which will be really nice because we don't really have that in Port Ludlow. Another option is GBF Catering. They've been doing a takeout up at the conference center closer to the end. And the new things coming is we have 2 coffee shops that will be coming. One will be through GBF, and they're working on retail, selling sandwiches, biscuits and gravy, those kinds of things. And then we're also doing a drive-through coffee shop that I'm sure will have some food choices in the village center. So it's exciting to see more diversity in our community.
So thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do at the resort and what's available, and the whole farm to table projects that you have going, which are so exciting.
Yeah, so we over this last year have been working on a number of items, and probably the general public hasn't seen much of them yet because we haven't been out and about, and looking forward to when that really lifts a little bit. But at the end, we've created a map of where we locally source our food from. And that map pretty much is within 20 miles of us, which if you ask a lot of restaurants that say farm to fork, ask them how far away their farms are. 20 miles is really close. And where the distance is probably our purveyors that provide us fish. They're out on CQ in that area. And so we created the map, and then on the map, what's really fun is the staff in the food and beverage program, they actually put little stickies on the map, and they say what we're getting from the farms at this time, because the farms grow different things to help us because we only have so many covers. And we also, through our restaurant, we support Jefferson Land Trust, which then supports the farmers. So it makes a great circle in supporting our community and having the richness of the food and the diversity of what they're growing. And we can support that in our restaurant, which we're so excited. When Dan Radigan first came, he sat down with 25 farms, actually helped them set up a distribution system, and really started working with our communities. And that was like his passion. And he, as an executive staff, has been with us more than 10 years, which is unheard of, really, in the food industry. And I think because it's his passion, and he does get to work with amazing farmers in our area, that it's just fueled his passion and thinking of new things and what can we do, and working with the farmers market. So that's been a real joy for him.
And there's a question in the chat that while I have you, I'm going to ask, and it's something I don't know about, and that is Olympic Terrace 2. What's that, and what's the status?
So on the home building side, we have 2 subdivisions going. One is Ludlow Cove Cottages, and the other one is Olympic Terrace 2, which is a subdivision above the golf course. And surprisingly, we thought that we would have about 2 years of build out at Olympic Terrace 2. And we have all the lots under contract except for 2. So when you think about, there was so many tough and sad things that have happened with COVID. But definitely, I think the Olympic Peninsula has seen a surge as people, they really want to come back to nature, and they want to come back to places that are small. Our inn is only 37 rooms. And so you're not going to have large populations. So that's been surprising on the real estate, but it's also understandable when I think about, Port Ludlow has 30 miles of trails. We have a phenomenal volunteer group that takes care of them. Our trails are walking, as well as we have some in the South Bay that are biking. And there's also the Ludlow Falls Trail, which is about a 15, 20-minute walk. And you go from Raging Falls down to a trickle. And the volunteers have done steps and benches, and there's an interpretive garden. So there's some very talented people that are giving back to the community by developing these areas for everyone to enjoy.
Oh, fascinating. And thank you for that. And I think we're going to move on to follow real estate with real estate. Karina, it seems like a really logical progression. What's really going on in the market there?
I've been in real estate almost 20 years. I've never seen the market like this. As Diana was saying, there's quite a surge of people that have headed over this way. And it's partially because there's a lot of people in Seattle and California that have been told, hey, you don't ever have to work in your office again. Or maybe you need to come in once a week. And Port Ludlow, I think, is especially well situated because we're very close to the bridge. It's easy to go up or down, northwest, south. It's kind of in the middle of a wheel, and you can spoke out in any direction. Plus, with the fast ferry that we have right over in Kingston, it does make it really easy for people to pop over the bridge, and the prices do reduce quite a bit coming over the bridge. The interesting thing about Port Ludlow, when you compare real estate trends, we don't have a lot of houses that are lower priced. The median starts higher. And even the condominiums are going quite a bit higher. The prices have just continued to go up. I've got some stats in front of me. In the last year, the average price for Port Ludlow right now is $436,250, whereas the average price in Port Townsend is $370,000. That's all types of properties. When I make it just residential and I'm pulling out condos, it puts Port Ludlow up to $550 and Port Townsend to $485. So, it used to be when I moved here, when we purchased the house I'm in 6 years ago, Port Ludlow was more price per square foot affordable than Port Townsend. There's definitely a little bit of a switch. I know Diana was talking about the new builds. They just can't keep up. It absolutely, those properties have flown through. We have one agent in our office that has 5 clients right now under construction there. That's even unheard of. We have a lot of competition. We've got people that can sell their 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom condo in Seattle and live here in Port Ludlow and put money in their pocket. We're finding there's a lot of cash in the market, and we're having multiple offers, and it's usually the cash that wins out. It is really, really hard to be a first-time home buyer right now. It's really hard to be a contingent buyer. Most properties are getting multiple offers. You'll see days on market about 7 to 10 days. That's not because it takes 7 to 10 days to sell the house. What the market's doing is we're having offer review dates, and we're trying to even the playing field so people have a chance to get here and look. So, an offer review date might be in 7 days or 10 days. And at that point, sellers, is, if they're at all, kind of realistic, they have multiple offers to choose from. It is unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. And it's definitely things are changing. Where I came from and what I'm used to and what Seattle does a lot is home inspections ahead of time done by the seller. And that was never popular on the Olympic Peninsula, but it's becoming more popular because these poor buyers maybe have put in 10 offers on 10 houses and they're having to purchase a home inspection 10 different times perhaps, or 8 times, and it's getting expensive. So it's a different market. I think home building is going to continue to increase, but that's also really expensive. The cost of lumber has, really skyrocketed. Concrete. We've seen a lot of lots move in Port Ludlow, lots that have been around for a long time. So I'm happy to take individual questions, but that's kind of the state of it is a huge desire to live here and fast market.
So one of the questions that just came up in the chat was that is Port Ludlow getting younger? The demographic there skewed, really retired for a long time. Is that changing?
Yes, absolutely. When I first moved here, I would say, in my opinion, a third of the homes were retired, a third were second homes, and a third were people that are still working. I think that's absolutely changing because, again, people moving over and having to commute out once in a while. I also am seeing people wanting that home that family can gather at, that second home, because, maybe they can't trust getting on a plane or doing this, that, or the other, but they can come over here and have a home that the family can share and use. So I've also seen more families going in together, or, elder statesmen in the family purchasing a house that the family can use and enjoy.
Well, that makes total sense, because the stat that I pulled up that I thought was sort of interesting was that in the state of Washington, as far as per capita income goes, Port Ludlow is 16th out of 522, and is the highest ranked for this year in Jefferson County. So that makes perfect sense. So if someone reached out to you and said, I want to live in Port Ludlow, what advice would you give them entering into this market? Because I'm sure that happens a lot.
My biggest piece of advice is to absolutely make it so they're not contingent. So, for someone that has to sell their home to have the cash to buy a new home, we've even recommended that, maybe perhaps trying to find a rental so you're really able to compete. Because for a seller, if they've got several offers, it's why should they choose a house that they have to wait for the house to sell and close and then be able to purchase it. So there's that. The other big item, and I don't know if we have any bankers on, but there's levels of pre-approval. And so you can be pre-approved for a bank loan, but if you go through the underwriting part of it, where they really verify, which is usually after you're in a property, if you do all that ahead of time, it's a much stronger type of pre-approval. It's the bank saying, yes, we've checked everything. We're not just saying we're going to get into this offer and then check it. This person's good to go. And then that usually can reduce the length of the closing time, and it will allow the seller to feel like this is a cash offer. Because what we're trying to do is make a loan equal to a cash offer.
That is great advice. That is.
Oh, I see this one coming on the rental market. Oh my goodness. If you have extra cash in your pockets, buy some homes, buy some apartment or condos, and please rent them out. We are so low on rentals. It is absolutely unbelievable. And I'm sure Arlene or someone else will talk about staffing, but that's the problem. We get people that are coming to our company and saying they need to rent or they want to rent, but very, very, very low rentals.
It's the biggest challenge that we have, and that's the entire next Chamber Cafe is about that problem. So I hope you'll all join us and chime into that conversation. We're going to migrate from housing to the people that live in them, and go to Michael and learn about what active life physical therapy does and then what they do in the community, which is huge. But also, Michael, for some people, physical therapy, they have no idea what that is. They go, oh yeah, PT. But they don't know what physical therapy really entails. Maybe you could kind of give us an overview.
Yeah, so I'll keep it simple with physical therapy, and I'm surprised too that people do have that question of what physical therapy is. Um, basically, is if you have any physical impairments, such as you have shoulder pain, have an issue with walking, possibly from tight ankles, or you've had a neurological diagnosis, such as somebody who had a stroke or somebody who has Parkinson's disease, anything that's related to movement, essentially physical therapy can help address. And the goal is to get people to get back to their optimal function. So whether it be hiking the trails, whether it be performing their job, whether it be driving and things of that nature, anything that we do in our daily function, physical therapy addresses. We see people from head to toe, anything regarding neck problems, shoulder problems, back problems. And again, it's basically anything to do with function and movement, physical therapy addresses. So that's it in a nutshell with physical therapy.
Awesome. And tell us a little bit about what you do, what your staff looks like now, and what you do in the community.
Great, thank you. So our staff is currently, we have all our physical therapists have their highest level of education at the doctorate level. And we've just hired a new physical therapy doctor who will be starting in July, who has expertise in personal training. So we cover the spectrum of not only rehabilitation, but also post-rehabilitation for getting back and keeping active. And that's with our company being Active Life, I mean, that's the name we've chosen for that, and it's worked out really well. So on staff currently, we have 4 physical therapy doctors, as well as 3 physical therapist assistants. And again, we've been in the community since 2005. We see a portion of neurological diagnoses, like I was mentioning, with people who have Parkinson's, maybe MS, and have had a stroke. And we collaborate across the whole continuum. So our business is an outpatient. So let's say somebody's had surgery, let's say at Jefferson Healthcare, and they need, they live here in Port Ludlow and need those services. We collaborate with different disciplines in that manner. So in the hospital setting, you have more of an acute environment, and then people can either go to having a rehabilitation stay, and then go to the outpatient stay. So it kind of works on both ends. And we see people who have issues that aren't necessarily remedied with conservative measures, such as physical therapy. We then suggest having a consultation with orthopedics, where if surgery is needed, then they can go down that route. So it really works both ways. People have either had surgery, people who need surgery, we kind of collaborate. We've collaborated in this county too with other disciplines such as massage therapy. We have massage therapists locally here, and there's a local chiropractor with Brady Chiropractic. Other disciplines of conservative treatment would be acupuncture. So being in a kind of a smaller community with Port Ludlow, we all know each other and we help support one another through all those health disciplines.
So I have a couple of questions, one that came in the chat and the other one from Facebook. And the one from Facebook was sort of interesting. Do you have out of your clinic any workshops for people that weren't referred to by doctors but are looking at staying active and healthy through their retirement?
Oh, definitely. So we have actually a high percentage of our patients come via direct access. And what that means is, depending on the insurance, but people can access physical therapy services directly on their own. And, I'd say about that 40% mark so if people have a question as to what their mobility is like, if they've had a nagging issue, they can always contact our office or physical therapists in general and see if they can have that evaluated and go from there. So yeah, people have direct access to physical therapy for an evaluation. We get people, Port Ludlow in general has a lot of people who are coming from different parts of the country too, and that might not have an established relationship with a provider. So they might be in town for a little bit. They might be boating in here, staying at the inn, getting a feel for the area. They might be friends of people who live in the area. So yeah, we're more than happy to serve people who want to have an evaluation. It might be that they've been kayaking and they have sore wrists. So those options are definitely available for people to directly seek out physical therapy services.
Perfect. And do you find people, Michael, who are coming to you for a short time, a few sessions, or are there many more who come for an extended period of time who work with you over many months or years?
Definitely. And that's a great question. We have people who have, one of our specialties here is working with balance. And so we try to, we have an older population here, which I understand the dynamic is changing, which is great for diversity. But with a lot of our older patients have issues with, vertigo. And vertigo is a sudden onset, of dizziness that's easily treated. So that can last maybe 1 to 3 sessions. And then we'll have other clients who had a neurodegenerative condition, for many, many years, such as Parkinson's disease, or somebody who's had a stroke, that we have a longer course of rehab to get them to be able to function adequately. And we see people at all different levels, people who are lower functioning, who need assistance to move about their house, to get in and out of a car, to those who are high level athletes, who have conditions that have been around for a while that need to perform at a high level. So we really see a nice mix of patients along the spectrum of a short-term versus long-term.
Fabulous. Michael, thank you for that. And we're going to segue right into Amy to talk about the other end of health and medical care in Port Ludlow.
Thanks, Arlene. Yeah, we're definitely that other end of it. We're excited to be sharing or celebrating our 10 years in the community, providing primary care services to the community. We opened our first clinic in July of 2011. It was a super small clinic. It was 1,300 square feet at the intersection there, and we had 1 provider and 2 doctors. And we quickly outgrew that space. And after about 5 years, we worked with PLA and Diana and her group to begin talking about what a bigger space would look like. We needed to increase access for our patients. We needed to provide access to specialty care services. It's really important to us to provide as many services for the community here on the peninsula. So in 2016, we started building what has become a 4,000 square foot space. This is moving for everyone is always exactly the same, no matter if you're a business or moving college graduates in shopping bags like I had to do last weekend. But there you go. So in July of 17, we opened the new clinic and really were able to bring a lot more resources to the community. The clinic is headed up by our medical director, Dr. Shannon Kirshner. She has 3 supporting providers that help her see almost 600 patients a month, which I found that fascinating and pretty incredible. We also have a licensed medical social worker there, just helping tie up loose ends every once in a while that show up with patients. And then we started looking at, well, what can we do with that space that was left behind, and what other resources does that community need? So the retail pharmacy that we opened up in the fall of 2018 fit perfectly in that space, and really filled a gap that was there. So we have an excellent team there that has really just been so embraced by the community, and is just goes to extra measures for patients to help find additional funding for, super expensive medications, whatever it may be. It's a great team over there, and they fill about 1,200 prescriptions a month. And I thought it was cute to find out that they also do pet prescriptions. And they have over the counter, and you can also do vaccines there. And we will be integrating the COVID vaccine into that property as well. So when you need your shingles, or if you need travel vaccines, when we're all moving back towards to that, they accommodate that for us there too. So yeah, again, like I said at the beginning, we're really excited not to be talking about COVID, and we're going to celebrate the partnership with the community on July 1st up in the grassy knoll there. We'll have some goodies, and Chef will be there. He's super excited to get back out into the community again and start sharing his good snacks and nibbles. And I think that's it. I didn't have anything else. We have about 17 employees that work out there in the Port Ludlow, between the pharmacy and the clinic, which I think is when we opened, we started with one provider, 2 nurse practitioners, and I think I was trying to go through all the documents. I think there might have been a part-time receptionist that answered the phone. So to have grown that quickly and to provide that much support for the community really means a lot to us. And the fact that we continue to remain independent when we're looking at, Virginia Mason with all of their expansion and taking over of the Harrison name. Us remaining independent allows us to make decisions for our community that support them in their health. We're not having to answer to someone in Chicago, and that really allowed us the flexibility to pull off what we did in the last year. Had we had to answer to a headquarter who wasn't familiar with our area and the geographical challenges that we face, just getting 20 miles. It always amazes me when, I'm on a call with a sales team. They're like, yeah, we'll help you with marketing for a 50-mile radius. I'm like, yeah, buddy, that doesn't work. 50 miles is Canada, 50 miles is Everett. Like, that doesn't work for me. So, providing all the testing, providing over 26,000 doses of vaccine, that was something that we were able to do so quickly. I mean, in a matter of days. So that independent piece continues to be really important to us. And as we're working on our strategic plan for 2022 through 2025, that is a highlight there, recovering from the last year and then maintaining that independence. So that's
So Amy, the question in the chat is sort of interesting, and it's something similar to that came through Facebook, and that's the shared services, doctors in Port Townsend and in Port Ludlow and clinics, and how does all that work?
So we have our core primary care providers, Dr. Kirshner, Wes Schott, Laura Wolf, Candace Byers, and then our LS, our licensed medical social worker there. Her name's escaping me right now. And then we have cardiac care and dermatology who rotate through there. So that that clinic, it's 4,000 square feet. We've got 7 procedure rooms. We've got x-ray, we've got lab draw. So there's quite a few things that we can do right there for our patients. So now, you know, we're not going to do anything major dermatology wise, but you can get the consult, you know, you can do your annual exams there with her. And then cardiology, I know, is going through there on a regular basis, just with consultation, evaluation, just making sure everything's right. And then when they need to come back out here, whether it's for cardiac monitoring or there's a Mohs procedure that needs to be done, that can be done here at the hospital. But it's the same provider, just moving back and forth. So keeping that continuity of care, that's super important when we're all juggling so much and having to keep track of it all. I know I have a hard time.
Yeah, and I had such a hard time that I missed that meeting last night online. Did anything come out of that you want to share?
Right. So we had two community forums for our strategic plan, and very well attended. I know we're all tired of our Zooms, but I do think that there's something to be said for Zoom presentations and being able to capture, you know, an audience that might not be able to attend otherwise, or, you know, whether you're driving in your car home or whatnot. But so Mike and the board presented our strategic plan that's probably about 60% done, and just really tried to garner from the community, what is it that you need to see, what services do you think are important to you, and just kind of take that litmus test as we try to map out what the next year. I mean, it's when he showed me that, he's like, yeah, 2022, 2025, and I'm like, what happened in 2020? Like, that's kind of, I feel like it's just lost. So exciting to move on to something new. And we were really pleased with the turnout from the community. And I was watching some of the chat. I was going through some of the chat this morning and reading it. Looks like, you know, ENT, what were some of the pulmonary services. So stuff that we knew already, that those were things that our community was wanting to see, but just getting that reinforcement, okay, we're on the right track. So, you know, then it goes into, okay, where do we put them? Because I think, Diane, you might know this better, but when we built the new clinic, I think it was 6 exam rooms, and then there was like a shell space that was supposed to be for later. And I think within 4 weeks, it was like already being built out because we had outgrown the space before we actually moved in, which is the same thing that happened here with the ESSB building. I think within a year of moving into those spaces, we were already remodeling it and reconfiguring it to make sure that, you know, there was a Mohs room to do the Mohs surgery, and there was a blue light room, and cardiology had their evaluations. So there's just, you build it and they come. So it's exciting, and I'm really eager to see what 22 brings us, and excited for the new opportunities, and glad to have some of this vaccine and testing stuff behind us. That got old. So.
And thank you, Amy, for helping us move past COVID, because we are trying to use this very hopefully soon to be replaced word, pivot from an incessant chatter about COVID to the future.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was the mass vaccination clinic was certainly an exciting project to work on, and it was a team, I will say, was headed all by women, and it was really fun to work with strong personalities, but just to create a program that just worked so well, and to administer so many vaccines to the community. And we're still administering. We've just shut down the MassVax site. In fact, I went and stole a folding table from the site today. I'm like, oh, I could use that folding table. So I hid it in my office. But we're doing, anyone can walk into our express clinic and get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It's open daily from 9 to 7. And then patients can schedule with their primary care provider to receive the mRNA, which is usually Pfizer. We're keeping more Pfizer on hand than Moderna because it captures a broader audience as we vaccinate our kiddos. So there we go.
Thank you. And you guys did such an amazing job in getting this all up and running. And that transition from not enough vaccine to not enough people happened instantaneously.
Yeah, that was a wild ride. Yeah, to January being just this frantic, my cell phone number getting out into the public and everybody calling and telling me why they deserved it more than the 71-year-old. Such a horrible position to be in, but we worked through it really quickly, and I think we came up with a pretty good plan, and then before you knew it, the balance was off, and so good things ahead.
Really good things. And thank you and your incredible team, and thank Mike for assembling that group, because it's a fabulous organization and it's a great hospital and medical facility to have in the county.
It really is. I mean, for being out here on the peninsula by ourselves, we've got some amazing resources right here at this hospital, and access is something that we're working on. I'm sure everybody can attest to. It takes a while to get an appointment, but we're limited space and limited providers. One of the things when they talked about hiring new, pulmonary and ENT, not only is it where do we put them in here, but where do we put them in the community with this housing shortage. So there's a lot of things to look at, and it'll be fun. New challenges.
And you're up for them. So thank you so much. And Cammie, a lot of times when we get involved with medical issues, we have to start thinking about some legal issues as well. And I know the pandemic has increased your business a little bit. And so, not that it needed it, because I know that there are a lot of times we get to meet first-time business owners or people starting a business that say, well, now I have to go find an attorney and I don't know if I can do it because it's going to cost me $5,000. And, that isn't necessarily always the case. They don't always need an attorney to fill out a form. So tell us a little bit about really what you do and how you serve that community. Oops, you are muted.
I'm sorry about that. And
Oops, there you go.
sorry about that. So I'm not an attorney, so I can't give legal advice. I just want to say that right out there. And but I do help the community in assisting my clients with filling out court forms, documents, typing resumes, transcribing court proceedings, transcribing minutes from recorded meetings, oral histories. I can do that, reviewing documentation, completing forms online, just a myriad of things that I can do for the community. And I found that Port Ludlow clients were coming to my office in Port Hadlock, and I thought that there was a need out there to establish an office. So I went into the post office out there, and there was a little office there, and I said, well, why couldn't I have an office there? And people come in and get my card and give me a call, and out there in Port Ludlow, and they can come to me there, and I can do what I need to do for them at a convenient location. And they don't have to 25 minutes into Port Hadlock or another 20 minutes into Port Townsend. So, and that has worked very, very well. And during the COVID era, I was able to go into my office a little, and then more, I had everyone come to my Port Hadlock office because it was much larger. So the technology too has changed quite a bit over the years, as we all well know, and keeping up with it is a challenge. So I can offer my clients my what was it, my education, I've been in this business for 50 years, and I know legal and I know medical, and I can help them with their documentation. I can do simple wills. I don't create them myself, as I'm not an attorney again, and so I can help them through that process. The court process can be very challenging sometimes, and I have done that. So I opened the business out in Port Ludlow 2 years ago, in post office there, and my business, I established my business in 2010. So it's a bootstrap business, and there is no other business on the peninsula like mine. I only have myself, and I have no employees. So that's kind of a nutshell of what I do.
So if I'm starting a new business and I go to the city and the city wants me to get a business license, and that now refers you to the state, and you go to the state site and you look at those forms and you're in cardiac arrest because you don't really understand what they're asking for, they could come to you and you could walk through that with them?
Yes, yes. And I can also establish an LLC or any other on the computer. I can help them walk through that process. And the one thing that I do want to stress is that if I can't help anyone that comes into my office, I will find someone that can.
That is good to know. That is good to know. Any changes that you're going to make now for 2022 and beyond?
Yes, I will be spending more time out in Port Ludlow. I think that there's a need out there, and if I could be out there maybe a couple of days and just stay there, and people that come into the post office can come in and visit with me or chat with me, or just know that I'm there for them if they need me to help them.
Thank you. Thank you, Cami and Diana and Karina and Michael. What a great group of people and what fabulous information. Not only did we all learn something here on this Zoom, but I know that as people watch it on YouTube, you're probably all going to get resourced out and get some contact information for these people, because you clearly not only know Port Ludlow, but love it and are great ambassadors for the community. So I want to thank you for these amazing resources and for sharing the lifestyle a little bit as well. And now it's that time for brieflies. And so I will briefly start and let you know that what I said before holds true. We are not having a Chamber Cafe on July 2nd, 4th of July weekend, and we want you to enjoy it with whatever we're doing then. But then July 16th, we will be having that, barrier to recovery meeting where we're all going to talk about, the human resource challenges, staffing resources that we have, and the housing issues, and try to gain consensus on what we need from government and what we hope they'll do in the short term, midterm, long term, and how the chamber can help, and what we are doing, and what I'm a planning commissioner for the county, what the county planning commission is doing for 2021 and 2022 and beyond, because we've taken housing as and economic development as a primary function of our commission. On July 17th, we have our county newcomers meeting, and it is a hybrid meeting, both on Zoom and live, and great goodie bags that we're giving away. So if any of you have coupons or cookies or whatever you want to share, get them to Puli, and we will make sure that they get inserted in the goodie bags to let people know about your businesses. And then Women Doing Business is going to have a breakfast, and that breakfast is going to be on July 28th at 9:30 in the morning. However, it's virtual, so bring your own food and coffee. And we are going to have the SBA join us that morning to talk about women-owned business financing. The most asked questions I get at the chamber and through my work as a SCORE business mentor are, what kind of grants are available? What kind of loans are available? I'm starting up my business. How do I how do I fund it? I want to hire more people. How do I do that? Who's going to give me money for that? And it's the hardest thing to explain, but for women-owned businesses, there are some great resources now. So the SBA is going to come out and go ahead and fill us in on that. And that's July 28th at 9:30 in the morning. Now, if anybody in this little Zoom room has something they want to say, just raise your hand and we'll let you talk to us about what's going on. Cammie was first.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I'm also a notary public and I also do mobile signings. So thank you.
Perfect. All right. I saw some other hands waving around. I didn't catch them. Another hand. Oh, Bill. Unmute, Bill. Perfect.
Good morning. How are you? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Daryl. Go.
Well, Daryl, I'm going to have you next. I'm looking at Bill's hand up.
Okay, I'd just like to say good morning to everybody, and I'm the manager at the Olympic Peninsula Gateway Visitor Center. That's a little visitor center at the junction of 104 and 19. I'm sure you've driven by it many times. I'd just like to say briefly that we support all business in Jefferson County, but our focus, of course, is on tourism-related interests like lodging and recreation, anything the traveler needs to have the best experience in Jefferson County. We've been there for quite some time, since 1991. Right now, we are currently managed by the Jefferson County Historical Society. We have a small museum on site there that has kind of a nice little background of Jefferson County and the near area, the farms, those kind of things. Most of our scheduling is provided by volunteers. I'm very pleased to say many of them came back after the pandemic. So we're very pleased to have them back. In the past, we were open 362 days a year. Now we're on somewhat of a truncated schedule, but we are open 6 days a week, 10 to 4. So we're able to provide a great deal of information for people coming by. And now people are returning in droves. We're seeing a lot of people at the visitor center. As you've heard around the table this morning, we have a lot of interest in people relocating to our area. So we do carry several different real estate publications and so forth to provide that interest with some methodology of getting out here and finding out what's available. In the past, we had some blips in service because of the pandemic, of course, as you might imagine, but now we're back on that more robust scheduling. And we've seen people from about 40 different states now. Here the other day, I saw a couple from Brazil. So we're seeing people from out of the country now very slowly returning to our shores. But our basic premise is to support all the businesses in Jefferson County with that lodging and tourism focus. And we hope to be able to continue that into the future. And we really appreciate the support we get from the community of Port Ludlow, because most of our volunteers come from there. So it's great to be able to work with those people that are locally oriented and enthusiastic about where they live. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Daryl, you're next. How are things at First Security?
They are wonderful. Thank you for asking. So I'm Daryl Jenkins for Security Bank. I'm the community business banking officer for the entire peninsula. So I serve businesses, nonprofit organizations, municipalities, anyone. We are taking great strides to expand our lending in the community. Last year, we did almost $200 million in commercial loans in the state of Washington, but hopefully this year will be a phenomenal year, even more so than that, now that COVID is just about behind us. Some of our clients that we've had the pleasure of working with are the Jefferson Land Trust, Special Olympics Washington, as well as the Hearing, Speech, and Deaf Center in Seattle, and a host of others. So we really have a good name in the community, but we're hoping to expand that And if there's anything that I can do for any of you, please don't hesitate to give me a call.
Thanks, Daryl. And we're gonna go to Lori and then Jay.
Thanks, Arlene. Hi, everyone. Lori Scholl. I own Eagle Pipe Heating and Air. We have a location here right in Port Ludlow. And we've worked with quite a few people on this call. In fact, with Jefferson County Healthcare, we've given, I used to say we do gift of heat, but we've also given gift of water. There was a cancer patient there where we stepped up and put in a hot water tank in her home. We've replaced the HVAC system in the Emergency Operations Center at the correction facility. So my company, not only do we do ductless mini splits, ducted furnaces, water tankless, we are preferred providers with quite a few of the large utility companies and, you know, rebates through Jefferson County PUD. And I just wanted to put our information out there. We've been very active in the community. Monday, we spent the whole day at Port Ludlow Inn, enjoying all of their services for our company to have a great meeting and, you know, spend some money here in the community. But we're based right here in Port Ludlow. We also have a location in King County. So we're trying to service not only Jefferson County, but Callum County and Kitsap. We've got a lot of new construction going on with new homes. So just wanted to throw that. I will put our website into the chat and please give us a call if there's any needs that you may have.
Well, and I want to chime in, Lori, that you are really active in the community and on social issues as well. And you do a lot of work throughout all of our communities in donating time and services and money and raising funds for so many different organizations. And we want to thank you for that.
You bet. Thank you so much.
And Jay?
Yeah, my name is Jay Baxt. I guess I'm a business consultant. You can reach me either through the chamber or EDC Team Jefferson. I do a lot of work with startups and with other businesses, helping them improve. We have some classes that we do at least once a year, usually in January or February. The other item that I'd like to mention is if you're interested in helping with the housing situation, we have a group, the Housing Solutions Network, that is applying management principles and some other ideas to try to address and resolve our housing situation. So.
Thanks, Jay, and thanks all of you for joining us today. We really appreciate all the information that you've provided. Please make note of the information that's in the chat, and we're going to send that out to you. Police going to be busy translating that and sending it out. And then we'll have the video up in a couple of days on YouTube, and links to that we're going to go out to about 10,000 people. So people are going to hear your voice. I want to thank you and hope that you enjoy this amazing weather that we're going to be having. I understand we might hit 80 degrees here, which would be the first time in the 3.5 years I've been here that I think it's gone over 72. So I'm personally excited. I want to ask you to join us for some future cafes and tell your clients and your friends and your neighbors about the newcomers meetup. If they've only been here for a week or a month or a year, we're going to share a lot of information and we know it'll be helpful. So stay safe, stay healthy, and of course, above all, shop local. Take care, you guys. Have a great rest of the day.